Good afternoon. Welcome to class webinar series, 4 Steps to Lodgment. Today, we are going to talk about the Step 2, Transaction Processing and Reconciliation, Part 1. If you missed our Step 1 data loading webinar, don't worry. You can find the recording link in these slides. Now we have completed the data uploading and moved to Step 2 for reconciliation. Hello, everyone. My name is Yao, and I will give you the presentation today. We also have panelists Grima, Helen, and Zarna to answer your questions during this webinar. Before we start, here is something you should be aware of. The information in this presentation isn't financial, tax, or legal advice to your or your client's specific situations. While we aimed for accuracy, please treat it as information, not advice. It's general guidance on using class software. For specific guidance, please consult professionals or do your own research. No guarantees on accuracy, and information may become outdated as the product improves. Here is what we suggest the best practice of processing a fund in class. We will go through the important reconciliation steps, particularly covering stage 2 to 7. Join us as we guide you through the best practice, offering valuable insights for effective fund reconciliation. Today's agenda is packed with essential topics. We will kick off by looking at the fund opening position. Next, we will dive into processing transactions, covering auto match, transaction rules, and manual match function. I will guide you through how to use custom holding accounts, process corporate actions, generate income, and handling dividend reinvestment plan. Finally, we will wrap up by discussing pension review. Also, words underlined in these slides are linked to class knowledge base article for the relevant topic. Let's start by reviewing the opening balance reconciliation. After uploading a fund into class, the first step is to review the opening balance by navigating to Fund, Load Opening Balance, click on Review. Ensure there are no discrepancies between the member balances and investment balances. Otherwise, the review page will display a message indicating the difference. If there is a difference, you won't be able to run a period update and will receive a period update error message stating fund opening position is not balanced. To update the fund opening position and make it balanced, please review the holdings, members, tax position, as well as assets and liabilities type to check the investment's valuation, member balances, and any accrued amounts are recorded correctly as at book close date. The book close date in the opening balance is the 30th of June of the last financial year before the fund transferred into class. If book close date is 30th of June 2022 in the load opening balance, it means you start processing FY23 in class from 1st of July 2022, using the opening balance from the 30th of June 2022. Let me show you in the testing fund. So if we go to fund load opening balance, we can see the fund opening position. And in this testing fund, the book close date is the 30th of June 2022. We can click on Review button. You will notice there is a 100 difference between the total member balance and the total assets, where the total assets currently is larger than the total member balance. To resolve this issue, in the holdings type, please review the closing balances for all accounts. A helpful tip here is, in the security account line, you can record the DRP residue of the dividend reinvestment carrying forward from the last financial year. This DRP residual balance is kept for the future dividend reinvestment and will also count towards to the market value of the security as at the book close date. Please make sure the DRP residue is also recorded correctly here. Let's continue with reviewing the valuation. After confirming the cash at bank, security valuation, property valuation, and also custom holding accounts valuation, as at 30th of June 2022. Assuming everything is correct here, let's just review the members type next. The idea here is, if you find any discrepancy comparing to your financials as at 30th of June 2022, adjust the components accordingly. For example, if pension 02 here, pension 02 is missing $200 comparing to the member summary report as at 30th of June 2022, we can add 200 to each component accordingly. Let's say you find the difference in the tax-free component and also the unrestricted non-preserved component. We just add the $200 here and we submit. After submit, we just click on review again. You could see after adding $200 to the member balance account, now there is still 100 difference where the member balance now is larger than the asset value of $100. So let's continue reviewing the reserves, tax position, assets and liabilities. If any discrepancies are found, adjust accordingly until the total assets equal to the total member balances. Assuming another discrepancy is the $100 dividend receivable not recorded here, we just record the 100 in the dividend receivable in the assets and liabilities type. We click on submit. And let's just review it one more time. So please ensure the identified difference message is no longer there. That indicates the total assets now equal to the total member balances. A common query received by the support team is related to set up appropriate accounts in the opening balance, particularly regarding to how to record accumulated depreciation for years before the funds transferred into class. Basically, the property valuation as at book close date can be recorded in the fund load opening balance in the holdings tab here. For the cost base and accumulated depreciation, you can click on Edit Parcel History, where you can enter the book cost and use Add next to Adjustments to recognize accumulated depreciation. According to this table, to record accumulated depreciation for Division 40 capital allowances, input a negative number and choose the Division 40 as adjustment type. For Division 43, input a positive number and select Division 43 as adjustment type. Let me quickly show you in the fund. Let's go back to the holdings type. I create a property account in the opening balance. See the market value has been recorded as at 30th of June 2022. Now let's click on Edit Parcel History. You can click on Add under the Adjustments. And for example, under 30th of June 2022, I would like to record another Division 40. I will use the negative amount here. And then I leave the description as Division 40. Then I can save it. In this way, you can record the accumulated depreciation in the Edit Parcel History in the opening balance. Another common query is regarding to set up a foreign cash account in the opening balance. The challenging part is that a foreign cash account has both Australian dollar and other currency balances. To update it, firstly, enter the Australian dollar balance in the holdings type as valuation as at book close date. Then click on Edit Parcel History. You could add parcel for each of the foreign cash acquisition, enter the date, foreign cash balance, and AUD equivalent amount. Please ensure all the amount you entered is based on the amount on the acquisition date. It will maintain the cost base in each parcel, similar to an investment account. This approach helps you to get the accurate calculation of Forex gains or losses. Let me show you in the fund. You can see this is a New Zealand dollar foreign bank account. Click on Edit Parcel History. We can add another parcel here. For example, you can add a parcel on the purchase day 29th of June 2022. The foreign cash balance on that day is $100. AUD equivalent is $94. And it's for this New Zealand dollar foreign bank account. And we just save it. So instead of creating parcels for each of the foreign cash acquisition, you also have the option to input one parcel for the account balance as at the book close date. The system also allows you to enter the 30th of June foreign cash balance and AUD equivalent balance in one parcel. Please choose the option that works best for you. So if I just leave it with different purchase parcel, you can see here, the foreign cash balance showing up here is the sum of the foreign cash balance in this added parcel history. And the book cost here is the sum of the AUD equivalent balance in the added parcel history. Now we have finished setting the New Zealand foreign cash account. In the load opening balance, you can also enter the previous year's profit and loss statement in the prior year operating statement type. This is optional as it won't affect the fund's opening position, but it enables you to review the comparison report, well, reports, operating statements. By enabling the comparison option, you can compare the prior year's operating statement with the current year's one. However, please note that you cannot add lines to the prior year's operating statement type. This report template in class may not match with your statement perfectly. After reconciling the fund load opening balance screen, let's process transactions. I will introduce the auto match function in class. This function automatically locates and matches transactions within a specific variance and a selected date range and go in opposite direction. The days and amounts tolerance and the types of transaction it matches depend on how the auto match function is triggered. It can be triggered either by manually clicking on the auto match button in the match transaction screen, or automatically triggered by the data feed each night. Firstly, let's talk about the manually triggered auto match. Manually triggered auto match can pick up cash transaction to business events, cash to cash transactions, and business events to other business events. For manually triggered auto match, the date tolerance is 7 days. In most scenarios, manually triggered auto match will only select transactions with the exactly same amount. However, special examples are business events created by generate income function, where the amount tolerance could be up to 50 cents. If generate income is used to create distribution or dividend events, manually triggered auto match can match cash transaction and income business events within a 50 cent amount variance. In summary, manually triggered auto match function will not match transactions with a variance greater than 50 cents or a date range more than 7 days. Additionally, it won't match transactions to more than one other transactions, meaning auto match function will never match 3 transactions together. Let me quickly show you in the testing fund. Let's go to transactions, match transactions, and click on auto match, run auto match. You can see the system identify the 150 member contribution with a business event on the 1st of March 2024, another 150 member contribution business events. The system can pick those two because they are within 7 days. And also the system recognized the internal transfer of the 554 on the 5th of March 2024 to match 2 cash transactions in opposite direction. It also picks the 2 business events in opposite direction of 150 here. You can select the transaction you would like the system to match if I select all of them, and then say suggested. The system will automatically match those transactions together. And you can see the system does not pick up the $10 paid on the 4th of March 2024 with the $10 business events, the bank fee on the 14th of March 2024. The reason is because the date range is over than 7 days of those 2 transactions. Let's continue discussing the auto-match function. Auto-match can also be triggered by the data feed. Class runs batch processing overnight and matches cash to business events automatically. Normally, auto-match triggered by the data feed only happens when both cash transaction and business events come with a data feed. If you manually process business events or cash transaction, feed auto-match will never be triggered. For data feed triggered auto-match, you can adjust the days and the values tolerance at the business level by clicking settings at the business level, click on fund defaults. The days tolerance can be adjusted within 0 to 7, and the value tolerance can be adjusted from $0 to $1. Now let's move on to the transaction rule function. The difference between auto-match and the transaction rule function is that auto-match only handles the matching process with existing cash transaction and business events, while the transaction rule will actually create business events for you. To set up transaction rule, you have two options. The option one is to go to Transactions, View Transaction Rule in the fund, clicking on Add New. The option two involves navigating to the Match Transaction screen. Click on the three dots in the circle after the cash transaction. Click on Create Rule 4 in the drop-down menu. The existing description in the cash transaction will be automatically picked by the transaction rule. For example, if you create a rule using a cash transaction with the description Fund General Income, the transaction rule will also use Fund General Income as the description, but you can edit it later. Now let's discuss how to create an effective transaction rule. Firstly, please review description. The description is very important in the transaction rule, as the system relies on it to identify transactions. It's recommended to use descriptions with more than 6 characters, and please avoid using numbers only. Secondly, please select direction. Choose whether the transaction rule is for cash in or cash out, while the system allows both directions. Specifying one direction ensures more accurate matching. For example, bank interest could be specified as a cash in, while a bank fee could be specified as a cash out. Then please update classify as. This determines the type of the business events the rule could create. For bulk processing here, if the bulk is ticked, the transaction rule will run and create transactions overnight. Please note that this is particularly useful for cash transactions coming from data feed. If you manually enter the cash transaction, bulk processing will not work. Another function is the wildcards usage. Use wildcards by putting an asterisk in the middle of the description to replace variable parts. For example, for rent income description with changing month, use a wildcard like rent asterisk rider roll to let the system pick up the description for rental income with description like rent January rider roll or rent February rider roll. Also, it is highly recommended to conduct an annual review of transaction rule to identify and address outdated rules. This ensures accuracy, especially if certain rules become irrelevant. For example, rental income transaction rule would become outdated due to changes like property sale. Let me show you some transaction rule in the fund. If I go to Transactions, View Transaction Rule. For the first 3 rules, I have used a detailed description, such as administration fee, advisor fee, and auditor fee. It doesn't matter whether you use capital letters or lowercase for the transaction rule. However, it's important to use detailed description. Think about that. If I use a single character, A, or a single word, fee, in the description to set up the transaction rule, the system will pick up all advisor fees, administration fee, and auditor fees in one rule, matching them with the same type of business events, which is not correct. Therefore, it's important to use detailed description when creating transaction rules. Next, I set up a transaction rule using a wildcard to pick up rental incomes from different months. If I go to transactions, match transaction, if I click on run transaction rule, you can see the system pick up administration fee, auditor fee, and advisor fee, as well as rental incomes from January and February. Once I click on create business events, those cash transactions will be matched to the corresponding business events created by the system, which is quite efficient. Transaction rule can also help resolve issues related to pension drawdowns. One common issue occurs when processing a pension drawdown through the transactions, member expenses, pension drawdown. You find that you cannot locate the corresponding pension account in that page. Let me show you how a transaction rule can resolve this issue and why there is an error of missing pension account. To demonstrate this case, I need to run a period update to the 30th of June, 2023. Let me just quickly run the period update. Just wait for seconds to let the system respond. 30th of June, 2023, process. Okay. So once the period update processed, let's just go to the members, browse member screen to have a look. You could see as at today, there are two pension accounts, which is pension 01 and pension 02. However, if I go to transactions, member expense, pension drawdown, if I just change the pension drawdown date, for example, to today's date, you can see as at today, only pension 01 is there. You cannot see pension 02 in this pension drawdown screen. This is due to a full pension commutation has been processed for pension 02 in the FY23 without processing a proper period update 1 day before. So you can see this pension 02 has been fully commuted on the 30th of September 2022 in FY23, but I didn't process a period update to 1 day before the pension commutation day. So from the system point of view, it cannot be recognized the pension account still exists. But after you process a period update to the 30th of June, the system may still allocate a small balance of profits to the pension 02 account, which causes this issue. So we can use transaction rule to resolve it. If we go to match transaction screen, and we can locate this $30 paid out for the pension drawdown. We can click on the three dots in the circle after this cash transaction, create rule 4. And you can see the description, pension drawdown has been automatically picked by the system because this is a cash transaction description. And then the direction is cash out. The bank account, we select CBA. And we can select classify as using the drawdown payment. And the pension account here, you can select pension 02. Please note that in this kind of the scenario, the classify as cannot be selected as pension drawdown payment proportional. It won't resolve this issue. We can only use drawdown payment to resolve the error like this. And then I just save this transaction rule. And once the transaction rule processed, the system can pick up the 30 pension drawdown. If I just create business events, let's have a quick review. And you can see this is a drawdown event. And if I click on that, this $30 has been allocated to the pension 02 as a pension payment. Okay, so this issue has been resolved. I will just roll back the period update for the upcoming demonstration. Yeah, just to roll it back. Auto match and transaction rule functions would enhance the efficiency when processing fund within class. These two functions could handle a significant majority of transactions, leaving a handful transactions left be manually addressed. To manually match transactions, in the match transaction screen, you have two options. You can click on the three dots in the circle after the cash transaction, click on Match to New. The other option is to click on the transactions and create corresponding business events in the drop-down menu. Then you could match the cash with the business event in the Match Transaction screen. If you cannot find proper business event type when manually matching transactions, you could set up your own income or expense type at the business level. For example, you decide to set up a new expense type, such as formation expenses. You can go to the settings at the business level, click on fund income or fund expense, choose category type, and then click on Add New Income Expense Type. You could enter the name, for example, formation expenses, enter the code, formation expenses, but be mindful the code shouldn't have any space in between, and specify the GST category and let the system know whether it is tax deductible or not, and specify the tax return label this expense should go, and then you can save it at the business level. Once you save it, you can find the expense type in the fund correspondingly. Another thing I would like to bring to your attention is to review whether there are awaiting approval transactions in the fund. Transactions with awaiting approval status will create a fund suspense amount in the balance sheet. Awaiting approval status could be caused by transactions being matched after the financial year closed, screens closed by accidentally when processing transactions, or many other functions are processing at the same time, which causes the half matching awaiting approval status. To locate those awaiting approval transactions, you can go to Transactions, Browse Events, Group by Match Summary. Check if there is a group called Awaiting Approval. If you can find it, click on Awaiting Approval line under the Match Summary and approve those transactions. To approve awaiting approval transactions in previous financial years, you do not need to roll back any period updates or tax finalizations. Just reopen the corresponding financial year, approve them, and then close the financial year. Now we have finished the discussion about transaction processing. In this Step 1 webinar, Zana has introduced how to set up a custom holding account. In this session, I will discuss how to use the custom holding account to reconcile transactions. Basically, custom holding account can be used to record various items, including sundry debtors, creditors, a one-line wrap account, and other investments, such as a livestock. I will use two examples to show you how custom holding account works. In the first example, I will demonstrate how to reconcile a loan if a SMSF lends money to a non-related party. Secondly, I will show you how to use custom holding account to manage special investments, such as a horse. Assuming the SMSF lends money to the non-related party, we can use custom holding account to record this transaction. Let me quickly show you in the fund. To set up the custom holding account, we can go to Investments, Custom Holding Account, to set up a loan in this scenario. Think about that. Since the superfund lends money to another party, it means the cash is paid out from the superfund. This money lent out would be considered as a receivable from the superfund's perspective. Therefore, we can set up the custom holding account using sundry asset. Once you select the GL classification as sundry assets, system will automatically fill other category. You can activate. I have set up the loan account for demonstration purpose, so let's go to the next step. We can now move to transactions, match transaction screen. You could locate the SMSF pays out the amount of 170,000, which is the money lent out. And in May and in June, the superfund received 2 loan repayments. How to reconcile them? We can go to the bank statements, find the customer holding account we create, and we can add transactions here. To record the loan amount as receivable, you can add a cash-in transactions on the 1st of May 2023, and I will leave the description as loan receivable. And the amount would be 170,000. And then to reduce the receivable amount, because we received the loan repayment, we just process 2 cash out transaction on the 31st of May and 30th of June 2023. And we save those transactions. And we can go back to the match transaction screen. And you can just match the cash in with the cash out paid from the super fund to record the loan as receivable. And then for the loan repayment, you just match them as internal transfer as well to reduce the cost base for the receivable amount of the loan. Now we have finished the reconciliation of the loan using the customer holding account. Think about that. If SMSF borrows money from a third party, you can also use customer holding account, but put everything in opposite direction. Consider use sundry liability category to create the customer holding account if the SMSF borrows money. Let's now move to our second example. As discussed before, customer holding account can be used to record special investments such as diamond, livestock, and the most rare investment I have ever seen is a valuable Lego sites in the SMSF. The idea is to process cash-in transaction in the customer holding account to increase the cost base and use realized accounting gain/loss function to record the capital gain or loss for both accounting and tax purpose when it sells. Let me show you in the fund. Basically, a customer holding account looks like a bank account, allowing you to add cash in or cash out transactions. However, the key difference is that you can manually update the customer holding account valuation in the investment gross holding account screen. So for example, I have set up a customer holding account for the livestock. You can click on the 3 dots in the circle and click on security issue prices. You can manually add the value here. I have already added one. For example, I select the price type as net asset value. I put the date as 30th of June and put the valuation as 10,000. The system will not allow you to manually adjust the market value for a bank account. Additionally, the cash in and cash out transaction in the customer holding account are used to increase or reduce the cost base if you use it to record an investment. Let's say one day, this super fund purchased a horse and pays 5,000 for it. To record the horse in the customer holding account, you can set up the account as sundry asset. You may consider changing the capital gain classification and the market type if necessary. So I already set up this livestock for horse. To bring the purchase price as the cost base, you can add a cash-in transaction of 5,000 in this customer holding account and match it with the cash out, the purchase cash out paid for the horse paid from the CBA. For any cash out transaction paid to increase the horse cost base, match it with a cash-in transaction in the customer holding account. Let's say on the 30th of June 2023, the trustee decides to sell the horse for 6,500. How could we reconcile it? We can go to the customer holding account on the 30th of June. We just process a cash out transaction to bring out of all the cost base of this horse, and we save this transaction. Leave the closing balance of the horse account to be 0. And then we go to match transaction. We can see the 6,500 received by selling the horse. This is the horse sales proceeds. If we match it with the cost base we just reduced from the customer holding account, it will give you 1,000 difference. Think about this. This 1,000 difference is calculated by sales proceeds minus the cost base. So this should be the gain or the loss because it is a cash in. So this should be a capital gain. So we can click on 3 dots, match to new. We can go to fund income, find the realized accounting gain/loss. And we can select the horse customer holding account. So you can see here, there is a gain/loss amount box. This box is for accounting purpose only. So that means any amounts you put in this box will be created, will create a corresponding business event with this amount by the system for you to match. However, if you want to bring this 1,000 for tax purpose as well, we need to enter this 1,000 to one of the following boxes. All the boxes below to the gain/loss amount are for tax purpose only. So for example, if I enter 1,000 in the other capital gain box, this one will not create a business event, another business event of 1,000, but it will let the system pick the 1,000 when calculating the tax. So if I want to bring this 1,000 gain for both accounting and the tax purpose, I need to leave it in both boxes. I have also put a screenshot in the slides to explain that realized accounting gain/loss function. So I just submit this one. Once I submit it, then the cash difference has been reconciled. The sale of the horse reconciliation has been done. After discussing the customer holding account reconciliation, now let's talk about the corporate action processing. Make sure to review the corporate action console for accurate fund reconciliation. To access the list of corporate actions that can be automatically processed, you can go to the fund level, go to the investments, browse corporate actions. The corporate action console lists important corporate actions for the fund taking into account all investments currently held in the fund. Additionally, class offers a business level corporate action console that identifies essential corporate actions based on different security codes. Clicking into each security code provides you a list of all funds within your business that have that security during the corporate action period. This business level corporate action console simplifies reviewing, processing, or undoing corporate actions at bulk level. Let me quickly show you how to process corporate actions in both fund and business level. So if we go to investments, browse corporate actions. This fund has TLS during FY23. In FY23, TLS undergoes takeover merger corporate actions on the 31st of October 2022. To action it, we just click on action here. We click on create targets. We click on update parceling to let the system update the parcel matches for the cost base. And then we just select with rollover relief or without rollover relief based on the real scenario. We submit it. After processing this corporate action, the system automatically pick up the following one, involving a code change from TLSDA to TLS. It's important not to overlook this step. We can take this action, again, create target, update parceling, and then submit. The status has become processed here in the corporate action console. Please note that once the corporate action has been processed, you cannot edit it. If any adjustments are needed, please delete and reprocess it. To delete a corporate action, you can do it directly in this console by clicking delete. Or you can go to transactions, browse events. And let's just group it by type. You can locate the type of the corporate action, for example, code change one. You can click on that and you can delete it here. Once you delete the corporate action, let's go back to the console and have a look again. The status will become action required. Let's now talk about corporate action console at the business level. We just click on the home icon at the left top corner to navigate to the business level. We go to investments, browse corporate action console. This is at the business level where you can find a list of corporate action based on the security code. Let's just click on the ABP one. There was a corporate action on the 10th of August 2023 for the ABP for the code change. In the corporate action console at the business level, if I select all the funds who have ABP during the corporate action time, I can click on process. The system will process the code change corporate action in one go for me. And if I select all of them, click on undo. The system will reverse all the corporate action we just did. And you can also click on action here, which will lead you to the fund level corporate action console for that particular fund. And you can just process it one by one. And also you can click on the fund name here. It will lead you to the fund level for any further review. In this slide, I have put a link to a user guide page of common error message summary when processing corporate action. We can click on this link, find common errors for the corporate action and its corresponding resolution. So here is the user guide page. For example, a common error here is target quantity must be more than 0. If we click on this link, you can find the resolution here. This often happens in a spin-off or demerger corporate action. With a target quantity account has the 0 unit. To resolve this error, you can reduce 1 unit from the target quantity with higher number and add 1 unit to the 0 unit target quantity account. This is just an example. Please review this article here for other common corporate action processing errors. That's just, yeah. If the corporate action is not in the console, you need to manually process it while navigating to transactions, investment corporate action at the fund level. Within these slides, I have made a list of all manual corporate action types. You could click on each type to navigate directly to the corresponding knowledge base article for more information. In practice, manual corporate action function can not only help you with corporate action processing, but also be useful in fixing reconciliation problems. For example, suppose you need to manually adjust the investment cost base for some reason, such as an early recording error. Capital call transaction can help you with that to increase the cost base, and a capital return transaction could reduce the cost base for the investments. Additionally, consider a scenario where a security was purchased in the last financial year, and the last financial year has already been closed, and then you discover an error in the recorded holding balance. In the current financial year, a workaround is just to use the split or consolidation corporate action to adjust the unit balance without changing the cost base. Now we have finished the discussion of corporate action topic. In our last webinar, we have introduced the generate income function. Let's have some further discussion about that. You could generate income in the match transaction screen by clicking generate income button. Before using the income generate function, make sure the investment balance is reconciled up to date. Class calculates income based on the fund's holdings as at the X date of the relevant security issue. Use these holding balances times the dividend amount. If the income event is created by generate income function, you can also use feed to cash function to match it with the cash transaction with a difference up to $1. Let me quickly show you in the fund. We go back to the transaction, match transaction. If the balance has been reconciled up to date, you can click on Generate Income. See the income events the system generated for us. Let's just take this NAB dividend as example. So how does the system calculate this dividend amount of $848.40? You can refer to the income announcement. To check the income announcement, you have two options. Firstly, you can go to the fund level, go to Investments, Browse Holding Accounts, just search NAB, and click on the three dots in the circle, click on Security Issue Prices, and then click on Announcements here. You will be able to locate the income announcement for NAB. Another option is to go to the business level. We go to business level, click on Investments, Browse Securities, search NAB. And we click on NAB, we go to Announcements here. You will be able to locate income announcements here at the business level. And also if there are any corporate action announcements, you can locate it from here as well. So think about the dividend we just generated. So here is the corresponding income announcement, where indicates the current dividend amount is 84 cents. So if we go back to the fund level, the holding balance is 1,010. If we use this 1,010 times 84 cents, it will give us the 848.40 cents. That is how the system calculates the dividend amount. Let's just click on Create Income Events. And see, on the 15th of December 2023, the system received the $849.40 for the NAB dividend. If we select the cash in transaction with the Generate Income business events, the Feed to Cash button is showing up here. See, it's just showing up. If we click on Feed to Cash, the system will change the business event amount to let it match with the cash amount. See, the balance here is up to $1. So if the amount different here is within 50 cents, both Feed to Cash function and manually triggered auto match function can help you match cash with the business event created by generated income function. However, if the difference is greater than 50 cents but less than $1, like this NAB dividend example I show here, only Feed to Cash function will work. If I click on that, the system will automatically match those two. Now let's discuss about the distribution receivables. Normally, the last distribution for a managed fund can only be received in the next financial year. However, those distributions are accessible in the current financial year. To account for it, we need to record them as receivables. To record distributions as receivable, you can create a distribution event just through transactions, fund income, distribution, or just simply edit the distribution event created by the Generate Income function. Enter the 30th of June as the accounting day and enter the payment day as the day the cash will be received. If you are unsure, just leave the payment day as an estimated date in the next financial year, such as the 14th of July 2024. You can leave the distribution event here as an outstanding business transaction for the current year or match it to a cash received in the next financial year. The idea here is if the accounting day is the 30th of June and it does not match with any cash transactions in the current financial year before or on the 30th of June, the system will then automatically recognize those distribution events as receivable and put the amounts under receivable category on the balance sheet. If the investor does not receive dividends directly as cash, and instead the dividends are directly reinvested in the underlying equity, then a dividend reinvestment plan, DRP, needs to be recorded. In class, you can process the dividend reinvestment through the transactions, fund income, dividend reinvestment, or you can create income event using the generate income function as discussed before, and click into the income event. Just edit the event and tick the box for includes reinvest. A common question here is when dealing with DRP, how to process a DRP across different financial year. Let me show you in the fund. So firstly, let me show you how to bring a system-generated income event into a reinvestment event. For example, this one, we can click on the small pen icon here, and we can click on Edit. We can tick the box, includes reinvest. And you can put the reinvestment information here accordingly. Then let me show you how to process the DRP across different financial years. For example, there is a dividend receivable carried forward from the previous financial year as at the 30th of June 2022. And now you realize it should be a reinvestment event for the BHP to buy 1 unit. Here is what you can do. You can go to Transactions, Investment Buy, Listed Securities Acquisition. Just search the corresponding BHP account. I will leave the date on the 1st of July 2022. And then to buy 1 unit. Let's say the 1 unit BHP actually costs $80 dividend to buy, and there is a remaining $20 left as residual balance carried forward to the next DRP. We just process $80 in the trade value. The 1 unit BHP will have $80 as cost base. Just submit it. Then we can match this acquisition event with this dividends receivable. The difference $20 is the dividend residual balance carrying forward to the next DRP. So we just go to Transactions, Fund Income. We can find the distribution reinvestment. Actually, I can change it to dividend here. And the investment account is just a BHP. Yeah. And you can put the $20 here as the adjustment value. And then you just submit this one. And once you process the dividend reinvestment residual balance adjustment, you can match it with the difference. In this way, you are treating this dividend amount as a reinvestment to acquire additional units of the BHP and also record the residual balance. Let's now talk about pension review. The purpose of this screen is to review the pension minimum calculation for the year. Let the system calculate the minimum from the 1st of July or pension establishment day to a specific pension review end date. You have 2 options to do a pension review. The option 1 is to navigate to the members, browse members, click on pension account, and then click on next period. The other option is to navigate to members, browse pension reviews, select the financial year, and click on the pension account. Both options will lead you to the same pension review page. Here is the pension review page. If the fund winds up or if the pension account is fully commuted, please update the end date as at the winding up date or the full commutation date. Then click on Calculate Payments. The system can calculate the minimum needs to be paid for that specific period. An important point here is to ensure the pension review is done after the last financial year has been finished already. If the pension review is done before the last financial year closes, the opening balance for the member account may change later, impacting the pension minimum calculation. Please ensure to use the accurate opening balance to calculate the pension minimum. Additionally, please note that class only calculates pension minimum and maximum for account-based pension. All other types of pension accounts minimum needs to be manually calculated and entered here. Let me quickly show you in the fund. If we go to members, browse members, if I click on the pension account, I can click on next period here. You can see the system calculate the pension minimum for the whole financial year. If I just manually change the end date to a date in the middle of the financial year and then click on Calculate Payments, You can see the minimum payment will be updated by the system. Once we save it, the system will recognize the pension minimum. Here is the updated minimum figure. Now we have matched most of the transactions. The next webinar will continue with reconciliation process. In the next step 3 webinar, we will discuss more reconciliation steps, such as processing tax statements, review exemption reports, common errors, revaluing investments, resolving more period update errors, and other relevant topics. You can find the register link in this slide. And that's all for today. Really appreciate your time this afternoon. Thank you.